the hook is the most important part of it. Any short form video marketer, there's one thing we can all agree on, is that the hook is the most important element of the video. Like, that hands down, we will A/B test hooks. We can post the same video and test 5 different hooks, and
you're not worried again of the platform being like, hey,
not on TikTok, no.
Welcome to the Marketing Academy Podcast by GCMO, where in every episode we sit down with a marketing expert to deep dive into a hot topic shaping the industry. I'm Yitzy Tannenbaum. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Marketing Academy Podcast by GCMO. I'm Yitzy Tannenbaum, and today we have a very fun episode with Gilly Fleekop about short-form marketing, TikTok, Instagram Shorts, all that fun stuff. Gilly is an absolute rock star in this space. We actually used the services of her company, Ping Chili. You started out in-house at one of the large companies here in Israel, and then you went off to do your own thing. I was telling our producers that you were coming in, and they are familiar with you personally from your social media. So super glad that you found some time in your busy schedule to come out.
I'm blushing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So tell me how it started. How does one become a short form video expert?
Great question. To be honest, because I'm not technically Gen Z, I missed it by a month, but I identify as Gen Z. Because I really feel so native to TikTok and Instagram Reels, and I find myself, I'm not going to tell you my amount of hours per day because it's super embarrassing, but I think was a really natural thing for me at the time. I was a social media manager at IronSource. I was spending all day just thinking about, I was managing 8 accounts for them. So I was all day, I was just thinking about what are we posting and what's trending and what's new. And I tell my employees now, 4 years later, scrolling on TikTok or Instagram is work. If I see, and we're at the office and I see you scrolling, I'm so proud of you because that is work. That's not slacking, which makes me feel better about myself when I'm doom scrolling every night. So I really think I was super native to it, and I can tell you the full story, but I think I realized that my passion, I was making TikToks for fun on nights and weekends, would come home from work, finish out for the day, and just make a vlog.
Right. But you blew up from this kind of hey, I'm just
exactly.
Right?
So I opened my TikTok. I called it Gilly from Philly, my nickname, and I would just post fun vlogs on the weekend. And a few weeks into posting, I realized that I was getting crazy views, millions of views, and I noticed that my videos were bringing in CVs to the companies that I was working at. And HR would come by and they'd have a joke with me, another interview that the candidate just watched your TikTok, Gilly from Philly. They would say Gilly from Philly CV. Wow. And I realized whoa, my TikTok is actually driving business growth and, helping the company. And I think it was this wake up call. So that's kind of the story in a short.
Right. And you were exposed to the power of, so I think especially the older marketers, I think they don't fully understand the power of TikTok, of short form video. Do you want to talk a little bit about how prominent it is?
Totally. So I always say it's a beast of a platform.
Right.
And I really like this nuance that I don't really view TikTok as a social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
I view it as a dynamic media platform because it's not a place that you go to connect with friends. You're not going there to catch up with your college roommate. You're not going there to see people's weddings or baby photos. You're going there to consume content that you like, that you find is funny, that is relatable, that's inspiring. And so that shift was very, very critical for a lot of brands and a lot of companies. And in terms of the power, I always joke, you go to Sephora or Ulta. I think I told you this when we were just chatting before, but I know you walk in and you look at the shelves and you literally see signs as seen on TikTok. There's literally signs. I have a picture of this as seen on social media. And it doesn't say as seen on LinkedIn or as seen on X, which I'm not trying to, say the platforms aren't as strong because they're strong in their own way. But it's an extremely, extremely powerful platform in terms of consumerism and, taking money out of your pocket and buying something, whether it's internally, TikTok Shop, which is super strong, or just there's a lot of data that shows the amount of users that watch a TikTok and then make a decision in the real world. It's super, super high. It's super interesting, and I can send you some numbers after. But there's just a lot of power to it.
And people spend like insane amount of time on these platforms. Also, like the Gen Z are using it as a search engine, right? They want to learn about something. They don't go to Google or Wikipedia. They'll put in, hey, what do houses cost in, or how does this dental procedure work? And they use TikTok as their search engine.
Totally. I think like that's a really interesting thing that I think about a lot, because I mean, also with GPT, that's changing because it's also a search engine. So I feel like I can have a TikTok conversation every week and I see how it changes, because we see a lot of Gen Z going to ChatGPT before they go anywhere else.
Interesting.
Gemini, but it's a really, really, really powerful search engine. And I always say, like, if you're going to Google something, even like a recipe, you have to scroll through so much promoted like fluff. Just like sometimes just the recipe itself, there's like 20 paragraphs before you can get to the recipe. You know what I mean? Whereas TikToks, it's like super like no BS, straight to, like, this is literally what it looks like. And whether it's a restaurant, a hotel, even like software, like which platform should I use? Like you really see it in like the scrappiness and the authentic version of it. So I use it as a search engine all the time. Like I will never choose a hotel without going on TikTok first.
Because it's visual, right? Because when you're searching a recipe, right, you could see all the ingredients. There may be a single picture. When I see it on TikTok, I see it happening. I see the process. I'm able to replicate what I see. And a picture is worth 1,000 words. A video is worth 1,000 pictures.
Totally.
So it makes sense. Look, there are people who prefer to consume written stuff, but I think a lot of young people today just prefer to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also there's this like scrappy element to it. Like I always joke that the videos that you just like, we see like girls in like wet hair with a towel and a sweatshirt and like drinking like a iced coffee in their car will go so viral than a perfectly polished, you know, crazy, beautifully edited video, because it's this like authentic vibe that's like you and me, we're just normal people, and the normal people are the influencers on TikTok. It's not necessarily the Kardashians of the world. It's the janitor that wants to show you his day in his life, or the stay-at-home mom that's prepping her lunches for her kids. So it's very refreshing, I think.
I think us as a community, we had enough of the overly produced. We had enough of feeling that companies are manipulating our brain with these like big time actors and highly produced commercials. And yes, someone in their kitchen or someone, I worked with a B2C company. They had a UGC, user-generated content of some woman in the inner car talking about the product. It blew up, and they tried to replicate it again and again and again, did in different, and they could not. And on like no one knows why that. What was that? But
yeah, it's just, it's like the secret sauce of TikTok. People always ask me like, how do I make a video go viral? And first of all, if I knew the exact formula, my joke is like I wouldn't be here. I'd be like on the beaches of Thailand, like fully retired at age 29. But I think that like, first of all, there's no real way to know. It's a black box, but it's just don't overthink it. And like that's my first rule on TikTok is there are no rules.
Right.
And just have fun. It's your playground. Like that's the platform. If you're gonna choose a platform to just have fun and mess around, that's the platform to do it on.
Now, marketers will come and say, hey, it's all good and fun. And you know what? There may be a perfect strategy for B2C. But hey, we sell this complex cybersecurity, CRM, something solution. Maybe our persona is not on TikTok.
It's one of the most common questions I get on like a weekly basis. So I love it. There's a few things I'll say to this. So the first thing is B2B companies, at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that even though you're selling to businesses, there are people behind those businesses, the people that are making the decisions. And so what's interesting is that TikToks have a really, really long lifetime value, so they circulate often. So a lot of times what starts on TikTok can end up on different platforms. And also the whole idea of dark social, like sometimes our marketing attribution softwares can't quite understand exactly where leads are coming from. Like they may be attributed to search, but really the person saw TikTok and then Googled the company, right? So there's a lot of power in dark social. And the second thing is, I joke when I was working at Iron Source, I was making TikToks, and like one of the C-suite like execs comes to me and was like, my daughter just showed me your video. Like we were like at dinner, and like you just don't know how certain videos can reach people. And so if you're able to make a buzz and you're able to work on your brand, it's only gonna, help drive that top of funnel. Of course, it's not gonna be very, very technical, specific content. It could be, but like just top of funnel content. So that's part one. We can dive deeper as well. But the other thing is that first of all, I'll be super honest, most of the B2B companies I work with hire me for employer branding purposes. So that's a huge pillar. It's super important for them. And they know that using TikTok, they'll be able to work on their EVP and get talent and, attract the attention of top talent. That's a huge use case for us. But I have had B2B brands that we tried TikTok for, I wouldn't say lead gen purposes. I would just say brand awareness purposes.
Right. And I think, and tell me if I'm right, I think the fact that this is a platform that people could spend an hour, 2, 5, 6, 8 hours a day on, like you could produce all the blogs you want. What's the average time of consumption of a blog, right? You could create the most elaborate website. How much time are people spending on your website?
Totally.
If you have an audience that are spending 5 hours, 6 hours, however long it is, like the amount of exposure you could get is just, and you know what? Maybe you'll hit 1 million people and most of them won't matter, but maybe the 5, 8, 20 people, which is 0.000%, are seeing it, but they're the ones who are, even that small group can really make a difference. So I think it's just a number game. That's where people are, no matter how. There's also this thing where people say, oh, well, it's only for children, right? We also know that that's not true either, right?
Right. And the numbers show, obviously I don't have the exact spreadsheet in my head, but we're seeing I would say in the 20s to mid 30s is the biggest age group. Maybe even a little bit maybe 18, 19 to mid 30s is the biggest chunk. But it's a really good point. I get the question a lot. We're trying to hire top developers. Is TikTok the channel we should really invest on? And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes it's, you should really drill down on your LinkedIn or your X. What I like to say is with TikTok, it's kind of where culture starts, social media culture, humor. And if you're not there, your competitors probably are or probably will be. And so I like to say early days of Google. If you were, starting a company and it's early days of Google and you're oh, I'm not sure, are people really on this? But you could be an early adopter and you could be the first page on Google.
Right.
Back to the search. Maybe a top talent, candidates, prospects, maybe possibly for decision makers that are deciding if they should use your software or not, even if it's a super technical software. Maybe that their procurement team or their VP finance or maybe one of their interns that they were given to analyze your software is getting on TikTok and just searching XYZ software. And if you can be there, be first page of Google early days is what I call it, why not? It's such an amazing opportunity. So
Are we still in early days though?
I would say no, but we're still I think the majority of B2B brands are not on TikTok.
Right.
So I think if you are a B2B, I can really only name a few, and it'll be hard for me to name a few of B2B tech companies that are really doing well on TikTok. I think most of them don't see the value or they don't have the resources. So I think it's early days for B2B.
Interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
So we spoke about authenticity. What else works? What should companies be doing more of?
On TikTok specifically?
I guess short form. That's actually an interesting question. Should they put different types of content, short form content on the different platforms? I think YouTube's short is there. Yeah, is it those four? It's YouTube's short, it's Facebook, Instagram, and then TikTok. Would those be the main?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because LinkedIn video is not so.
I think there was a second that they were
they
big.
were doing you could scroll.
Right,
videos.
and then that kind of died. Remember they also had stories for a day.
I hated that as a social media manager. I was like, no more stories, please.
There was a joke. This is 7 years ago, but there was a joke going around with that Excel will start putting in Excel stories.
Social media people are no more stories. I can't handle it. It's a great question. So, and again, you'll ask 2 marketers and get 5 opinions, and you can ask me today and tomorrow, and I'll probably give you different answers because things are changing all the time, and Instagram's updating very rapidly, and I had a really interesting conversation yesterday with a fellow social media marketer, and she was like, have you noticed that Instagram views are crazy recently? And I was like, yes, the past month or two, our clients' Instagram views, it's like early days of TikTok, and we're trying to understand, there's a lot of changes happening, but I would say like in a general, like zooming out 5,000 feet view, they are different, and there are nuances that like what will work on TikTok may not work on Instagram. I always say you can create content for TikTok and then repurpose it. Wait, I have to remember which way it goes. You can create content for TikTok and then see and try and repurpose it to Instagram, but it may not work the other way because TikTok is again where the culture starts, where the jokes start. And so let me like explain that a little more. So there are like 3 proven strategies that like I think, in my humble opinion, work really well on TikTok. One is what I call an iterative series. So that's essentially when, if you look at the grid on someone's TikTok page, it looks like they have the same video over and over again. But essentially what it is, it's the same concept or format, and just one thing changes in every episode. Either it's a different person, a different topic, a different challenge. So that's kind of like the videos we see on TikTok. That's Daniel Mack, like, hey, excuse me, what are you doing? What do you do for a living? He stops people in sports cars and asks them. Or the guy that walks around New York is like, how much rent do you pay in New York? So it's every single video he's asking the same question. He's just changing the person. And so those iterative series work really, really well. And the reason for that, from our analysis at Pink Chili, is that there's so much saturation on the app. You can scroll and you can get like endless content. And so what the iterative series does is it kind of like gives you that familiarity of like a TV episode, like, oh, my show is on. Like, oh, I'm so excited. Like another episode of the show I love. So that's number 1. Number 2 is a persona. So Duolingo is like very famous for this, but like they're
that big green,
big green owl, and it's like this mascot or a person that we cheer on. They're in this storyline. We really follow kind of their journey. And 3 is very difficult, but it's a legitimate show. So there's actually a real estate company called Built that just launched this TikTok show called Roomies, and it's really a show. Like it's like with characters and episodes. So those are 3 really proven strategies, because the alternative is just like doing trends every single video, and then you're not really known for anything. So I always say trends is like sugar. Like it gives you a rush, maybe gives you some views, but it's not sustainable. It's not going to help you grow. So eat your veggies and do and build a content strategy that makes you known for something. Like for me, like I tell my clients, my KPIs, it's very hard, but like for me, it's a very much so a qualitative KPI, is that if someone can complete the sentence, oh yeah, that's the account that does X. So then immediately I know that the brand is recognizable. So for example, I'll give one more example and then we can catch up, is that OkCupid is my client, OkCupid Israel, and my amazing, incredible co-founder Noam has really cracked the code for them. She basically started a series called Okay, Not Okay, that we ask people questions about dating and they have to answer okay, not okay, because they're called OkCupid Israel. That series became so well known, millions of views every month organically, that people will literally stop us on the street when we're filming and be like, oh, you guys are an account that do okay, not okay. For me, that's music to my ears, because now you recognize us and you remember us.
And the way to do that would just do the same, kind of figure out the concept that works, and then just repeat it again and again and again. And as it grows, like you see it grow, and as long as it's growing, you know you're doing something right.
Exactly, and it's much, much, much harder. It's harder than you think, because as marketers, we think that's like, it's like cheating in a way. It's like, wait, I don't have to think of a new idea every month. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we always want to work really hard.
Interesting.
But it's really hard for my clients to be like, wait, we're going to keep doing that again this month. We don't want new ideas. And I'm like, wait, this is working. Let's like optimize and iterate it. Of course, you always want to be thinking how you can be creative. But it's really hard for marketers. I found it that, it's hard to just pick one idea when you have so many.
I mean, I'm still in shock, like, from what you said very, very early on, that you yourself did really well by, I would just come back to my apartment like late at night and I would just film something, and then I got millions of views. Like, I think for me as a marketer, like that concept is so foreign.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that's the trick here. It's to figure out something that may not be uber complex, that may be super simple, super authentic, just someone talking, and has the potential to really blow up.
Totally. And like before I even had an agency, before I even understood what the word iterative series was, every single video of mine started the same. Like, hey, TikTok, it's Gilly from Philly. Every single video.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a way, as soon as people heard my voice and heard Gilly from Philly, they're like, oh, we've seen her videos before, we like it. And that's one of the reasons my videos did so well. Of course, it was also much earlier. It was 2021 and TikTok was still, new in a way. But I think like, of course, like and I don't want it to seem like I know everything, because I've had plenty of clients that like no matter what we try, we're stuck in like that 200 view jail. Like, I don't know if you've heard of this expression. It's just like no matter how much you post, you're stuck in 200 views. It's happened to me. It's happened to the best of us. It's just about continuing to try and play and view it in a fun way, because it's a fun platform.
Is there a problem with over posting? Like, can I? Because the knee-jerk reaction here would be just post, and see what hits, and then kind of replicate that. But like, is that a problem, or is TikTok or whatever platform going to say, hey, this account really just like spams?
Yeah, it's a good question, and me and my co-founder Noam talk about it a lot, because she's under the impression that posting too many IG reels stunts the growth, like the reach of them. I lean more towards like post as much as you can. Because it's a numbers game, and if you like wait a few hours in between posts, just
right.
to, I think it really depends again on the goal, but I think in general, like, you never want to compromise on the quality. Like the one rule we have is like, is this video, would it stop the scroll for me or someone I know? And is it interesting enough or funny enough or inspiring enough that I would click share and share it with someone? When we're making content for our clients, if I can't answer yes to both those questions, like, it didn't really pass the test. So if you can make 25, 30, 40 videos a month that answer those two questions, then I would, more the better, in my opinion, on TikTok.
No, but I think that example you gave for OkCupid is a great example of, hey, I have a product. I think that's a product that there's a lot of playroom and there's a lot of things that you could do. So coming up with a concept, repeating it, and something that even if the brand didn't exist and you were just doing that video, it would still be interesting, right?
Yeah.
And but you then tie it into the brand, and then you could actually build something.
Totally.
So how would you recommend? I think with B2C, it's a little bit easier, right? You need to find something, and one of the three things methods you suggested, I would go do that. Would you do the same with a B2B company? I'm selling like a super boring payment software. Like, would you go like what should they do? Where would they start?
So first I would start in understanding what does success look like. Like, are we trying to use this page for employer branding purposes? Are we trying to recruit certain talent, and that would be its own content strategy.
I'm assuming that would be like brand recognition, right?
So the hardest things on TikTok is don't talk about your product.
Okay.
I think that's really, really hard for a lot of marketers, because especially like old school marketers, it's like, wait, what? Like, why would I like invest all this time to not talk about my product?
Right.
It's kind of like TikTok, I think I had said this to you, but it's like a group chat. Like, it's just, we have inside jokes, we have our own lingo, we have the creators that kind of are the leaders, and formats that we like. And so if you're able to speak and like really going back to the scrolling point, just scroll and understand TikTok as much as you can before opening the page. And once you do that, if you're able to speak the TikTok talk, you'll see much more success. And I think like there's this 80-20 rule in social media that we like to look at, that like 80% of the time, just give value. Like, make funny videos, inspiring videos, helpful videos. And then 20% of the time, I would even say less, you can talk about your product, ask for something, tell people to join a webinar, or like just ask for something.
Right.
So I would say follow the 80-20 rule and use TikTok. For example, Built is an amazing example. They're in real estate tech, and they did a whole show about like finding a roommate in New York and like looking at apartments and choosing a roommate. And they didn't talk about their product, as far as I know. I haven't watched every single episode. So kind of like creating valuable and entertaining content for people in your industry. So like, for example, for a payment, we're using this theoretical example. Step one for me is like, who is the ICP? Like, who are we actually trying to reach? Explain them to me. Then I literally make a deck like for fun and like describe that person. Then step two for me is I go natively within TikTok and I'll try to watch every single video that I can find that would appeal to this ICP, to this type of person. So let's say like I've gotten before, like developer security operation, like something super specific. Searching those videos, searching those hashtags, searching those creators, what skits are funny, what POV is funny. Really deeply understanding who we're reaching, and then creating content that a lot of times I'll read the comments of other videos and see what resonates and what doesn't. I always say that comments equals content, because if someone's like going out of their way to be like, oh, this is so funny, or like, what about this, or this moment, kind of like meme-ified videos, what I say, how do we take actual pain points or relatable situations and make videos out of it? So it's really research-based a lot as well.
No, but I also think there is value of not talking about the product, but building out that name. And I think a great example is Duolingo. Like they have a ton to talk about when it comes to languages. Like they theoretically can do a ton. Their content has absolutely nothing to do with language or cultures at all. Right?
Yeah. And you see, like, even tech companies here in Tel Aviv that are, global tech companies. Monday.com's on TikTok,
right.
And I see that they're trying and they're posting, and I saw Riverside's on TikTok. You see a lot of these tech companies that understand that it's a powerful platform, and some of them are running ads, some of them are doing organic, some of them are hiring UGC or nano influencers. So and really, like, I see the ones that succeed the most are the ones that deeply understand the culture of TikTok and don't talk about their product too much.
Right. So actually, you brought up UGC and influencers, micro influencers. Should companies engage with them, and in what way?
So first of all, I'll say, if you're going to be on TikTok, you should never post and ghost. You have to be scrolling and engaging with creators. That's step one. So, like, if you scroll for like 15, 20 minutes a day and leave comments, we spoke about this, but like, it's like tying your wagon to a bunch of horses, and one of those horses is going to be a winning horse, and then you're already tied onto that. So, going back to OkCupid, for example, we comment every single day. We log in. We spend 15, 20, 30 minutes scrolling through their platform, through their profile, and leaving comments on TikTok and Instagram videos. And what ends up happening is every month we see the amount of attention we get from the comments. So I want to say, when it comes to engaging with influencers and creators, comment on their videos. Like, that's really important.
It's probably interesting, and I'm thinking about it, probably for company and company pages, putting up videos is considered less than creators, but commenting is considered more, right? Because if I posted my love story or a terrible date, and OkCupid like comments on my post, like, that's huge.
Yeah.
So I think there's value for brands. If Monday.com, if Riverside are posting like on podcast TikToks, like I think that would be real. Like it's whoa, hey.
Yeah. Oh, they commented. They commented on my video. I feel so cool. Let me take a screenshot and put on my story. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways, and we see it all the time with OkCupid, is people get excited when we comment on their videos. So that's the first thing, the rule of thumb. The second rule of thumb is, if you're going to hire a TikTok influencer, or honestly any influencer, any creator, I am really, really passionate about this, because I myself am a retired influencer. I say I spent 2 years influencing on TikTok since retired. Let them do what they do. Like, brief them, pay them, however you want to do it, but don't micromanage them. Because the second that you try to like nitpick every single thing in their video, they know what works, they know their audience, they know their style. People, they have hundreds of thousands of followers because of they've done it well, they know how to do it. So I always say, like, give them a lot of autonomy, because they know TikTok really well, and they probably know it better than you do. And so, like, just trust. You can make like a do's and don'ts, like, please don't say this about our product or whatever. But I'm a big advocate. I think, like, I say this a lot to a lot of like leads that I speak with for Pink Chili. I say, I honestly think your dollar's going to go further if you just hire some nano influencers on TikTok and just get your name out there, than really trying to build a TikTok page takes months and months and months. So if you're pressed for time, you're trying to get your name out there, you're trying to do some conversion, hire some influencers with pre-existing communities, and then let them post.
Would you recommend, a CMO listening to this episode, would you recommend hiring an in-house, kind of what you were at Iron Source, would you recommend hiring an in-house TikTok person?
I think if you have a social media manager that understands and is willing to learn and understand TikTok, I think in-house is amazing. But it's like this issue with social media in general, is that there's so many skills needed
Yeah.
to be successful, and sometimes one person doesn't have it all. And that's why so many massive global tech companies bring Pink Chili in, because their social media manager is a fantastic copywriter, but doesn't really know how to like edit videos and, you know, film and so we kind of are the complementary part of it. But yeah, if it's possible, in-house is amazing, because then you have an employee sitting there always on, always ready, part of the team, knows really the culture of the company. So I would definitely, if anything, I would say try and see, take a month or two and test and see what happens.
And I'll actually use your advice back at you. You have to give that person a lot of autonomy. I think that, you know, brands are very apprehensive to give, like, you know, we have a very we're a serious brand. We take ourselves seriously. And when you look at those brands that do really well on TikTok, if you Duolingo, Ryanair, like that, like it's absolutely unhinged. I think that's like you if you want to be super structured and like super serious, you're not going to you have to be a little bit crazy to make it work.
Sure. I would say like my biggest challenge the first 2 years of starting Pink Chili Agency was just getting buy-in and just convincing the tech world that this was important. And then the last 2 years, it's been convincing my clients why we have to push the boundaries more and more. And it's really hard, especially if you're this global company. Reputation matters. You may are publicly traded. You know, legal is looking at you. There's a lot of pressure. Wow. Sometimes there's politics. Sometimes there's layoffs coming, and they're scared to make funny videos. There's so much internal politics.
Good point.
That like to make a silly TikTok video seems really scary and a lot of liability and risk. But my biggest sentence that I say is, Microsoft is making the funniest TikTok. Microsoft Israel R&D Center.
I'm very aware. They by far take the cake when it comes to employer branding. How are they? I assume they have at least one or multiple full-time people doing that.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's in-house. I'm not really sure. But like, and of course, people will say back to me, well, of course Microsoft can do that because they're this big company that already has a great reputation.
Right.
But my answer back is, you know, if you have the courage to be that leading voice on TikTok, because I still think it's an early window. I still think not many companies are there. The ROI you'll see is really crazy. Like if any of our clients, just like for example, OkCupid Israel is one of our only clients that really says like, do what you want. Like really, we trust you.
Wow.
And what ended up happening is it blew up and we really got crazy amount of views. But when we have clients that were like, well, we can't do this and we can't do that and we can't do that, it's much harder, obviously. But I understand it.
Right. And would you employ a different tactic if you were doing employer branding versus just like classic marketing of selling the product?
Yeah, so when it comes to employer branding, content with short form video is amazing because you get to see the people and you can do so much. Like you can do a day in the life and you can do employee spotlights and you can do trends with them and you can do your own iterative series. I remember when we used to work with JFrog and we started a series called Mazo Omer, and it was really just, what does that role mean? Like, explain it to me. And just testing different series. So I think like putting your people at the front, and also it's an amazing employee engagement tool. Like when I go to these companies and we film TikToks together, you see the employees cracking up, they're laughing, they're shaking, like they get to move a bit, you know, like shaking your legs, shaking your arms, and just like laughing and kind of stepping away from your desk. So I think it's also an amazing employee engagement tool.
I also think that there's a little TikTok star in everyone. Everyone has that.
Yeah.
You know what? If I just something I know you're a big fan of is just post it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is just take that leap of faith.
Totally. No, I always say like good things come to those who post, and from like from a personal branding perspective as well. Like, if I hadn't clicked post on my TikToks, I don't think that I would have had the career success that I saw. And I think it's so cliche, but like a tree falls and no one hears it. Like if you have you did something cool, a success that happened, and you don't share it, no one's gonna know about it. And so there is a cringe factor to posting TikToks. And I always say, if you're not cringing at your old content, that means you're not growing. So I cringe so hard at my old content and my old client content. So you're growing, you're evolving. Like it's normal.
So employer branding, that's really interesting. It's a lot more focused on the humans, on the people, when like probably classic, if I'm just running the OkCupid page, I'm a lot more focused on the product. But as you said, you're not really talking about the product, you're talking about the the world
Yes,
of,
yeah.
right? So if you're OkCupid, you're talking about dating,
life,
and
yeah.
then if you're a B2B payment company, or maybe you're talking about money or
Exactly.
right. So
like, for example, Reddit has a really, really strong TikTok
Do they?
page. Yeah. And all they do.
what do they do?
So they've changed a bit, but like for a while, all they were doing was reading, like in a robot voice, reading out funny Reddit
That's
confessions
hilarious.
videos, while in the background it's like B-roll of like some sort of video game. I think it's like Roblox. I don't know. I'm not a
Probably,
game
yeah.
person. And it's just it was just so entertaining, and like that is a really, really smart way.
And they have endless hilarious Reddits that they could probably
There's this term like called like when you like use your own product, dog food, like
dog fooding.
dog
yeah.
fooding. It's like I wish there was a term for social media, like social media dog fooding, because it's like, okay, you already have this content, so like
Right.
we're just going to use it now on a different platform. So like if you already have customer or something funny or employees, like something that we
Right.
can use already, make it easier. I always say work smarter, not harder. So they really, really, that was a very smart strategy.
I mean, look, there's a thing in general. I think companies are not doing enough video. I had a CMO who said everything that you do, you need to ask yourself, can this be a video? And if the answer is yes, it needs to be,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
everything needs to be video today. You do have the people who are still reading blogs, and you could put out the blog or the white
Yeah.
paper or the ebook, but people are watching video. People are watching short form video. So
Right.
that needs to happen, right?
I mean, like, as embarrassing as it is, like, I have tried, like, with podcasting, for example, sometimes, like, I will literally just try to shoot it for the clips, not for the actual episode itself.
Right.
So, because I know the clips are going to get more reach than
Substantially.
the
yeah.
episode, yeah. So, and that's how all of us short form video marketers, like, I've faked podcasts before. Like, it looks like a podcast, the clip is like a podcast, but there's nowhere to direct the watcher to, because there is no full episode.
I've heard of this. I've heard of like people that you see on TikTok a lot that like they have a podcast. There's no podcast. It's just the clips. I've heard of this.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
amazing.
I don't know how ethical it is or not. It's a stylistic choice of like formatting videos to look like a conversation.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's like TikTok podcasts. There are like girls on TikTok that read dating confessions and give advice, and they're laying on their couch. Like there's a whole crevice of TikTok of just like podcast style pages. So, but they're not real podcasts.
Gilly, should we tell the audience? No, I don't know. We are a real podcast. Please check us out on
if you're
Spotify.
listening this far, it's real.
It is real. No, but so going back to companies, can you give us? I think for like a B2C company, they kind of like where should they start? Assuming, I think a lot of them do have Instagram Reels. I think that does exist. I don't think they do YouTube Shorts. I don't think they do TikToks. How should a B2C company kind of start? Like, assuming they want to start, how should they do it? And I'm going to spoil this, and I'll probably ask you about B2B next.
Amazing. So, I mean, the strategy, the approach to strategy would be the same for honestly both B2B and B2C. It's really, really deeply understanding your audience. Again, what's the goal? Who's our audience? Really understanding. Like, I will make like 10 pages of a deck of just like, here are the top creators in this industry, and here are the formats that's working, and here's all the hashtags. Like, really, really understanding, but within TikTok. I just stay inside of TikTok. I don't like ever leave the platform.
No, I think that's a point. You brought it up, and we should really double click on that, is researching in the platform. What is working? Because I think we always assume, we know, hey, we saw this once that they did, but like saying, hey, this is my topic. I'm going to spend a lot of time. What are people watching? What are people engaging with? What are people liking?
Yeah.
Like, I think once you have that, then it's a lot easier to come up with your own idea.
Totally. And you can see there's a hole in the market, or there's oversaturation in this. And it's funny, my fiance and I were doing some research. He's thinking about starting a TikTok page, and he was like, I'm going to just like ask Gemini to like research it. And I was like, in this specific circumstance, even though I'm a huge AI person, there is something about rolling up your sleeves, going into the platform and just watching the videos, just getting lost, just finding yourself like in different crevices and different clicking of different links, because it gives you this idea, this like qualitative feel. Of course, like there's probably softwares that like analyze it for you, but like I am like KISS philosophy. Keep it simple, stupid. Let's get in the platform. Let's really understand what's going on. So for sure, the research part is super important for us. And a lot of clients were like, let's just jump in and schedule a film day. And I always say like, no, like we're going to pause for a second and zoom out, because we, again, can't just do trends. We have to have some of our own, recognizable content is what I call it. So that's step one. Step two is also looking at your resources. Like, do you have people to be in the videos? Because if you don't have, if you're a fully remote company and you don't have a budget for an actor, then, okay, the Reddit example is like that required no people, right? Or maybe you need an AI avatar, or like understanding, because if you have like limitations, then that's going to affect the content strategy, obviously. And then the next step for me is understanding our messaging, understanding, are we testing 2 different iterative series that we're going to choose. And then once you kind of have your series and you have an idea of your content pillars, just jumping into the waters and start filming. I write scripts. Like I definitely write scripts. The hook is the most important part of it. Any short form video marketer, there's one thing we can all agree on, is that the hook is the most important element of the video. Like that, hands down. We will A/B test hooks. We can post the same video and test 5 different hooks, and
you're not worried again of the platform being like, hey,
not on TikTok. No, I mean, TikTok, again, because it's a playground and like no one's really looking at your feed, you can like A/B test and have fun. Whereas Instagram, it's more of like this like beautiful feed, and even though you can hide reels from your main grid, so you technically can, but. Do
you have any good hook advice? I'm sure you tried everything under the sun.
I always like to say, think of an anchor. Like you have to anchor them in the video. So you have to create either a feeling of FOMO or fear or relatability. So like a classic one is like no one is talking about this, or you won't believe what just happened, or does anyone ever feel that when their boyfriend like evoke an emotion to keep them there. Or a lot of times we see what works is we take a really funny part from later in the video, put it in the first 3 seconds, make like a funny cut, a sound, and then start the video just to grab their attention. I mean, you've probably seen these videos. There was this like hook trend that went viral that people were throwing objects at someone, pausing right before it hit them, and then it's like, you probably want to see me get hit in the face by this water balloon, but first let me tell you right? And like just to grab the attention, and really, really be purposeful and think about your hooks. Don't just assume that like, oh, the first 3 seconds of my video is my hook. Sometimes it's like a middle part of the video that you bring to the front.
Right. It drives me crazy when the hook is when the person is like, hey, you don't want to miss this, or like they outright say, or watch till the end. You're like, no, like hook me up. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like this may be a little bit not PC, but I just think that like as a marketer and as someone that's just analyzed kind of user behavior for 5 years, I think people are stupid, and I think they need to be told what to do. So like there's no coincidence that the most successful, largest companies in the world use like certain CTAs, like click now, buy now, like verbs, right? So like same with the hook. It's like verb, like follow if, comment if, like if, watch if. Even reverse psychology, like if you're not a girl that's 25 that buys Lululemon, keep scrolling. And then you're like, wait, but I want to hear what you have to say, right? Like there's so much psychology in it.
Right.
And so as marketers, we have to like keep it simple, stupid. Like really like keep it simple and understand and just A/B test and see what works.
It's just a ton of testing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I cut a short for this podcast, and it's the same clip. I just started it from 3 seconds before, 3 seconds after, and I saw a huge difference. Those few seconds that really
like you have like between 3 to 5 seconds to grab someone's attention, or also just endless scroll. And also like I think energy is a big part of it. Like I would say like energy is transmitted through a video. You can feel, so like sometimes that's the hook. Sometimes it's like your face is lighting up and you're like, guys, something just happened, and you see the sparkle in someone's eyes. You're like, wait, what just happened? You know? So it's also a lot of the personality, and to be honest with you, like if I go and I film for my clients and I feel like someone's not fully in it, they're like, I don't know if I should be in the video, if I shouldn't, I always say, then let's not do it, because
Wow.
if someone's not really excited to be in the video, you can feel it, and it's just not worth it, you know. So you should show up super excited to be in the videos, and yeah, it should be fun. Really, at the end of the day, it should be fun.
Right. And I think that's the shift that us marketers need to do. It's going from, hey, here's our product, and no, this is a party. This is the group chat. This is
Exactly.
similar to a lot of marketers who are now starting to dabble with Reddit. Also, like, you're not, what you've known in marketing doesn't live in Reddit. It's a whole different world, and you have to really, really understand and learn it.
I'm a
I think
huge Reddit user. Like, I'm obsessed with Reddit.
Interesting.
I would say, like, my number 3 favorite platform. I think I'm on it every day. So I myself am learning.
Do you have a lot of karma?
No, I don't. I just watch. I just read and I just watch, and I'm a quiet lurker there. Maybe one day I'll build up to comment and respond and react. But that's the thing, is like, I think the best type of marketers are the ones that admit when you don't know something. And like, I myself, like, I don't know. I'm a consumer of Reddit. I don't even know how I'd even start to do a strategy for a Reddit channel for a client. So I think just having this like endless curiosity and being really open, and in general, like, you know, the worst thing to just assume, like, oh, that's how it's been done, so we're gonna do it this way. So, oh, we used to do Instagram like this for the past 5 years, so we're gonna do that, and it's like kind of working but not really. It's like trying to keep up and trying to understand is what's gonna get you the furthest in your TikTok. Because for me, I'm always learning about TikTok. It's changing all the time.
Right. So we did talk a ton about B2C and B2B.
Yes.
But I will ask you one last time. Is there a difference? Because talking to you now, I don't know if there is. I think in both, from what I understand, and I think you're right, both cases just need to create fun, exciting, engaging series, content, making it, just getting your name out there, building the brand awareness. Now, obviously, if I'm a B2C company, so I'm a B2C brand, so there are a lot more people who relate to my brand if I'm McDonald's or Nike, or as opposed to, hey, SAP or Salesforce, where just the audience is a lot more limited. But should the methodologies be different in any way?
In short, no.
Okay.
Like, good content is good content. I think, like, you can see a B2B company that's so successful on TikTok because they're leaning into the content formats and frameworks that work on TikTok. And you can see a B2C company just posting like really cringe ad salesy type content that like just isn't working. So yeah, I think like back to the proven strategies, those strategies would work for either a B2B or a B2C company. And also like there's like, you see these like numbered challenges that work really well. Like I'm gonna eat healthy for 100 days before my wedding, like follow me, and every day I'm gonna upload, right? And we follow along, and we're like super curious. So like any one of those formats and frameworks could be adjusted and applied to either a B2B or a B2C company, like from any perspective.
I love that idea. Hey, it takes us 30 days to implement blah 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 solution. Come take this journey with us. That's pretty cool.
Or even like there's this TikTok creator that was turning like a pen to a house, like was trading and like leveling
very cool.
up. I don't know if you've...
I remember like there was a big thing. There was like a while like that there was always that random story online. It's, hey, I started from a paperclip. Now I got
And again, it's back to the user psychology. We want to feel part of something. When we're on TikTok, it's because it's their group chat. I want to like, oh my God, I've been with that creator from day one. Like, I want to follow them. I want to cheer them on. I want to be part of the story. A lot of times the comment section will then help influence the next future videos, right? So like, for example, I was scrolling a few weeks ago, this video popped up in my feed, and it was this guy that basically decided that he wanted to try a dish from every food of every country in the world without ever leaving New York City. So what he does is he goes to this like random Google Maps generator to a random country. And then he Googles it, and then he like picks a random one, and then he'll go across New York City to like try all these cuisines, right?
That's amazing.
When I watched the video, he only had 1 or 2 videos. He was brand new.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, I need to follow this guy. Like, I have to keep up. Like, I'm personally invested now. Like, I feel like I'm like your friend because I'm one of the first, like, I'm new to this video. And lo and behold, his videos went mega viral. He has tons of followers now. It's because it's the same format. It's we want to feel part of a journey. We want to feel part of that story. We want to cheer you on. We want to be like, oh, I was there from day one, right? Or I was here since Uzbekistan. Like, welcome French people, you know? Like,
there you go.
So that's the group chat vibe. And I
Right.
think B2B, B2C, it really doesn't matter. Of course, the goals will matter. Like if you're hiring or if you're doing brand awareness or you want to do more, you know, like it depends. Like I speak with a lot of B2B companies that really just want to like funnel content and like we want to direct people somewhere.
It sounds like that's not the right, it's not the right platform for this. It's a lot
really,
more about.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's a lot more about that short form, fun, exciting brand awareness,
right?
Just getting your name out there. And we know of companies that made it because of a TikTok trend.
Totally. It's just hard. I think if we're speaking realistically, I think that there's a budget, obviously, for every company.
Right, but how much does budget affect this?
I'll tell you what. It's very hard for a CFO to see
right.
a $10,000 monthly retainer bill to just make funny videos that don't talk about the product.
Right.
And you can't really track it because there's no links on TikTok and there's no attribution.
Right.
I mean, you could try like to
but
see.
The only number you have is views and engagement, and
views.
But if you could come and say, hey, 30 million people, 50 million, like, and I'm sure OkCupid, you're getting insane numbers that no billboard and no
Totally.
radio ad would get anywhere near that.
Totally. And I think like, you know, there's this like marketing, this relatable feeling that probably a lot of CMOs feel that to try to explain the importance of brand to a CEO, to a CFO. Some people just get it and they understand the importance. It's a long-term game. It's like performance marketing, growth marketing, that's short. It's just, we're going to make this money. We're going to get these leads. We're going to track. We're going to push. Brand marketing is a long-term game. And
look, people bought TV ads and billboards and radio ads long. And you know what? You know, sometimes the TV ad has a very clear CTA. Sometimes the billboard does, but very often the billboard is just a billboard, and there's no clear. You don't know how many views, or you don't know. There's no click-through rate. There's no bounce backs. There's no open rate. Like, it's just a billboard, and I think TikTok is a little bit kind of like that. And
I think the only difference is the billboard would show the product, whereas the TikTok is not even mentioning the product at all. And it's scary to sign off on that check. We just can't. And of course, you and me and people that maybe understand it more, like, and that's a huge part of my job, is just getting buy-in. Like, a lot of times, Pink Chili as my agency, the way it works is that champions bring us in, like a social media or employer branding or marketing person, and then they ask me if I can have a meeting with their CEO or the CFO or their CHRO to convince them why they should hire us. Right? That's a huge part of.
Do you have any advice, like, because you've done this so often, for
yes,
us regular marketers who want to convince the traditional and, dare I say, I was going to say generation. Yeah, I could say like a millennial, like a kind of the classic CEO, CFO who needs everything quantifiable. And any good tips on how to show the impact, even though it's not as quantifiable as they're used to?
Yes. First of all, DM me and I'll send you my TikTok deck. There's a lot. There's a lot of data. There's tons of data that shows that TikTok drives business decisions, and use the example of the Sephora and Ulta and how TikTok has a when you walk into the store and it's as seen on TikTok, it has a direct effect on U.S. consumers. That is the first and most important thing if you're in a U.S. specific targeting. I would say explaining the importance of SEO, of competitors being there, of credibility, of if someone's searching you and you're supposed to be this massive important company and you don't have a profile. It's like not having a LinkedIn page, right? It's like, wait, this company doesn't exist. And also, the more and more Gen Z right now, every Gen Zer in America has TikTok. Almost every single one. Like, TikTok knows that. Like, they're not trying to convince Gen Z. They're on it. They're addicted. That's their platform of choice, right? Now, Gen Z is quickly going to now be talent, decision maker. Like
Right.
that's the platform of the future. And maybe in a few months it'll be something else. But if you're not there now, you will have to be there in a few years. So like at least start building the foundations. That's what I say when I'm trying to do the buy-in calls.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. Hope it helps someone out there.
No, this was very helpful. I think us marketers, we all know about TikTok. We all know that it exists. I think we all know its power. I think it's very easy to tell ourselves, hey, similar to tricks, TikTok is just for kids. We say, yeah, but we're like this super B2B boring. Like our ICP is not there. But when you have such big power and it really is such a powerful platform, neglecting it completely. And you know what? If not TikTok, then you should be thinking about Instagram Reels. You should be thinking about YouTube Shorts. Like
YouTube Shorts, by the way, is amazing. The views are crazy.
I've never seen an individual watch a YouTube Short, but
They pop up on my YouTube feed.
they pop. Do you ever click though?
I get notifications on my phone, like YouTube Shorts. I actually like some. I know like it's qualitative data, but like I know my partner, he watches YouTube Shorts all the time.
Interesting.
So I don't know, maybe.
So yeah, like I was also very surprised because with this podcast, also like I uploaded on all platforms and voila, it like YouTube Shorts like.
Outperforms?
One short did extremely well. Yeah, and also because the full episodes are there, so they kind of like link into each other. But companies should be investing in short form video. I think you gave us a ton of interesting tips, kind of creating the series, not necessarily tied to a specific product. But we should be thinking about how do we get our brand name out there, because we've all seen those few brands that do extremely, extremely well and everyone talks about it. And when you're in a hyper competitive market and your products are somewhat similar and a lot comes down, yes, to pricing, but also to brand recognition, to getting your name out there, to creating a feeling, a brand, a story, a narrative. I think it's a lot easier to create a narrative in TikTok over LinkedIn or an ebook or your website.
Totally. Not agree more.
So with that, Gilly, this was so much fun.
Super fun. Thanks for having me.
I do want to thank Google for Startups. It's an awesome place to come if you are a startup and you're looking to hang out, meet people, and get a work environment. I also want to thank our lovely producers and editors who are here in the room with us, Rotem Simon, Shahar Kedar, and Atara Ron Levy. Thank you so much for their help. Gilly, this was fun. Hopefully we can do this again. And I guess if you guys are interested in bringing TikTok into your business, you should check out Pink Chili is Gilly's company, and they do some really, really cool things, literally with every awesome tech company here in Israel.
And I'm waiting to see a TikTok video of you. So
please, there you go. And I guess the last thing in that vein is to say, if you like this podcast and want to hear more, like and subscribe.